The design here features a number of paving bricks that run from the bottom of the decking towards the boundary. If we measure the size of those paving bricks with the distance command, I'll turn Entity Snap on and snap from one corner across to the other. You can see that the paving brick is 800 wide by 600, let me snap to it, 600 high or deep. What I'd like to show is how you can draw paving bricks like that using a number of different methods. Well, I've started a brand new drawing with the default template. What I have done is go View, and just so you can see things a little easier, I've turned the background colour to white. Let's put it back to black because you can see the electronic grid that I've set up by ticking the toggle full grid, which now goes red in the status line, and I've also put Snap on. That means that my cursor can move in steps as we move across here. The value of that you'll see in a moment. Let's just return to our background colour of white, where the grid doesn't show up quite as well, but it is there. So if I want to draw a paving brick, I simply I pick up the line command, and no matter where I click on the screen, it anchors at a grid point. And you can see as I move across, I'm moving in steps of 800 when I go horizontally, and when I go, let me zoom in, and when I go vertically, I move in steps of 600, come back over here and back to that point there and exit from there. So we've drawn our paving brick relatively easily. We haven't worried about its positioning on the screen. We've just clicked and things lock in. You'll see as you're trying to move around how the cursor is anchored, and we need to turn Snap off. So there's the first method, using the line command to construct our paving brick. I'll now turn off the grid and we'll draw the paving brick using another method. Again, I'll start the line command. I'll hit L on the keyboard and hit Enter. That starts the command. And for my first point, I'm going to type Cartesian coordinate 0, 0. That anchors me at the centre, if you like, of the plus X and the plus Y directions. And for my first point, I've put in Cartesian coordinate 0 in the X and 0 in the Y. And now I can put in the 600, so we can say our next point will be Cartesian coordinate 600, sorry, it's 800, isn't it? 800, comma 0, so it's 800 in the X and 0 in the Y. Let me zoom in and I'll pan up a bit so we can all see what's happening. And our next point will be, we're going still 800 in the X and 600, and then we come across in this direction. We go back to an X value of 0, so it's 0, 600, and then it's back to 0, 0, and right click to exit. So we've drawn our paving brick using pairs of Cartesian coordinates, but we've known exactly where we're going to start. Let's draw another example to the right a little, and this time I'm going to use what are called polar coordinates. So L for line to start it up. This time I'll click anywhere in the drawing space, and I'm going to use the @ sign and type 800, and the angle sign is picked up by typing the left caret bracket. So it's 800, @ 800, angle 0. That works like a protractor, so 0's to the right, 90 degrees straight up, 180 straight to the left, 270 down. So now we're going to go at 600, angle 90 to move up, and then we'll move at 800, angle 180, and then we'll go at 600, angle 270, and exit. So in this case, we've drawn the paving brick using polar coordinates. This time I'll use relative coordinates to draw the paver. So if I type L for line and just nominate a point anywhere, I can say I'm going to go at 800, 0. That puts our first line in. Then I can go at 0, 600. So we don't want to move in the X direction, we simply want to go straight up, but we want to go straight up by 600. It gets a little trickier when we come back in this direction using relative coordinates. We go at minus 800, 0. We're going in the negative direction. And then finally at 0, minus 600. And again, right click to exit. So they're the various methods of drawing them. But of course, in typical gCADPlus function, we provide you with a much easier way to do it. Let's do it just without worrying about snap or grid or relative or Cartesian coordinates at all. Let's change our drawing colour to red so we can distinguish this final and much better method. We'll start L for line. We make sure we've got polar on, and we simply say we're going to start here, and we just move. You should be able to see that as I get near the horizontal, the line clicks in, but it's actually, if you look in the little beige indicator, it says the next point is currently 568 at an angle of 0. So as long as the polar is on, you just type the length, 800, hit enter. Now just move up in the direction you want to go in, which is straight up, and it's just 600, and then come across in this direction, 800, and back down in that direction, 600, and hit enter and exit. So that's a lot quicker and very, very convenient. You might want to consider drawing the paver with the polyline command in the same way. So we just say 800 and move up, 600, across, 800. When you get to this point, right click and say closed, or even enter and filled, and that fills the shape. So there's the paving brick. We could change its colour quite easily. Let's pick a sandy colour for it, and we'll pick something like this here. And what we will do is come over to the properties box, and we'll say, yeah, this one has a border, and the border colour, we're going to pick dark line and unselect all. Now there's our paving brick with an appropriate colour with a line around it, and it's just one entity. It'll take up very little space in the drawing. What we could then do is wrap a box around the new paver and say I'm going to create an 800 block, 800 by 600, and I'll pick a point, say bottom left, but I can pick any point I like, put some notes in there if I want, and that now becomes a block. So it's very easy to copy that block and place the block wherever we like. Well, at this point you might well consider inserting the block. Let's just go through that again, and I'll remove those two. What I then did, in fact I'll remove this one as well. What I then did was go to the blocks, pick up the block we've just made, insert it into this drawing, and because I've set my snap and grid to 100mm steps, I was able to place that block directly onto the position X 2200 by 900 round numbers. Now I can simply say I want to copy it from there, and as I zoom in, can you see that I can very easily move it such that we have a gap of 100mm. You might want to put some planting in the gap, copy that one again, pick it up at its base point, move up, and the snap and the grid look after things for you, so you get a nice even row of blocks with an even gap between them. So learning to use the different methods of drawing and the methods of controlling placement and building blocks really sharpens up your gCADPlus skills.